Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a massive video, a massive update in regards to Adida. We've been waiting patiently for this moment, but we finally have a story which shows quite significant progress in the quest of making Adida a permanent Celtic player. Yep, we've been waiting and it's finally here. So, let's talk about that. Welcome back to Celtic Transfer Talk, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. We've started off July quite strong. A couple of big stories today. One that I'm sure will please the vast majority of people watching. As I've said, we've waited quite some time for this and it's finally time to talk about Adida. So jump down below, hit those buttons. Let's get into talking about this news. We all wanted to see Adida become a permanent Celtic player this summer. We have waited patiently for news to come about surrounding the chances of Celtic initiating that transfer. There was no option to buy in the original loan clause that brought Adida here on a temporary basis, but now we have got official news from Sky Sports News that Celtic have launched their bid to try and sign Adida permanently. Here are the headlines from the Sky Sports exclusive. It broke roughly 20 minutes ago as time of recording. Celtic have made their approach to sign Norwich striker on a permanent deal. Adida scored 9 goals for Celtic after joining on loan from Norwich in February. The Hoops have yet to make a summer signing. They start their Premiership title defence at home to Kilmarnock on August 4th. The story broke by Luke Shanley goes on to say that Celtic have made their approach to sign Adida from Norwich City on a permanent basis this summer. There you go. The first approach / bid has been made to try and bring Adida in on a permanent basis. There has been speculation for weeks about when or if this will even happen. Of course, Norwich City were going under some changes behind the scenes with a new manager and such, so that stalled the progress, I believe. But now we have word that Celtic have launched their first approach. Very exciting because, well, if you're like me, you really want Adida here next season. The only annoying thing about this story this afternoon that's broke is it doesn't add any more detail other than the fact that Celtic have made their approach, but there is no details towards a transfer fee, towards any sort of number, sell-on clauses, just anything financially. Nothing is noted. There's also no indication as to whether or not it's a deal that is, deemed acceptable enough by Norwich City. All we know is that Celtic have launched their first bid to try and sign the player permanently, but that's good news, and I'm hoping it's one that can be wrapped up quite quickly. We know that Brendan Rodgers is eager to have Adida. He's made plenty of comment about how he wants to sign him permanently. We know that Adida is interested in the move, and I'm sure that back down the road at Norwich he'll be saying, he'll be nudging the people in charge of this in the direction of letting him go. We know all parties are interested. It just now comes down to the financials surrounding it and what Norwich deem acceptable. There was a report, and I hate giving any sort of credit to the Sun, but the Sun did report last month that there was an exclusive in their front saying that Norwich were looking for at least £5 million for the forward, which means that I assume that this initial bid will be in that region. Norwich, knowing that he's in demand by Celtic, how much we want him and how much Brendan Rodgers want him, I assume will try and drive that fee up as much as possible. I think £5 million might actually be rather light, to be honest. I think that we might see a deal that will go up maybe another £1 million or £2 from that number £5 million. But listen, I think that it's a fee they have to pay. I think it's a player they need to bring in. The qualities that he brought to the team in the past few months of the season and in that nitty-gritty business end of the season as well. We know what we're getting with Adida. I think he's a relatively risk-free signing, and he fitted in so well. He got the club, the fans loved him, he fitted in really well with the players, the chemistry was there. It's a relatively risk-free signing. I'm glad that Celtic have made the approach. So we'll need to keep our eyes on this one. Of course, I'll be reporting it as more details emerge, whether that be a fee, a figure that comes out surrounding the money that Celtic are offering, whether it be the progress on acceptance. we'll be here on the channel to talk all about it. Very minimal details right now, but the headlines are, and the most important thing is, Celtic have made their approach for Adida. Hopefully he'll be in a Celtic jersey very, very soon. Somebody who won't be in a Celtic jersey for much longer though is Roco Vata. An update per Fabrizio Romano this afternoon has confirmed that his exit from Celtic is imminent. This was his tweet this morning surrounding him saying that Watford have agreed a deal to sign Roco Vata. His medical will follow on Thursday. Celtic will receive compensation in excess of £200,000 with a contract in place until June 2028. The story has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano and now ran with many different outlets. So Roco Vata, someone who people were excited for in the future of Celtic Football Club, is now off. To be honest, it doesn't bother me. We've been expecting this for, the past 6 months to a year now anyway. It didn't look as though there was going to be a place for him. I've seen a lot of conversation, debate online surrounding whether or not this is a good idea, whether we've treated him poorly. At the end of the day, as a right winger, a position in which the past year has been a bit of a problem for Celtic. If Brendan Rodgers has been putting James Forrest ahead of him, Nicholas Kuhn ahead of him, Yang ahead of him, clearly he's just not good enough. And I wish him the absolute best down at Watford, and hopefully his career sort of takes off from here and he makes a good enough account of himself and name of himself. But if he wasn't getting in the team ahead of Forrest and Yang and such, clearly was never going to be good enough for Celtic. I'm not that fussed about this happening. I think the biggest problem is, of course, the fashion we've lost him. We're not making money. We haven't made a star out of him. But if, the talent's not there, the proven talent and training to put him in these teams, then, a lot of people questioning his attitude. That's not my place to comment on. I don't know anything about the lad or his attitude. A lot of people taking that assumption that that's been one of the things that's held him back this past year because he's been wanting to move on or whatnot. But following a year of speculation with different clubs across the continent, his move is finally confirmed. He will head to Watford this week pending a successful medical. So I wish him the best. Just never was going to happen for him at Celtic, was it? The final transfer story for Celtic Transfer Talk today was one broke by the Daily Record this morning. A headline suggesting that Wilfred Ndidi has been offered to Celtic as Leicester City hero interested in Brendan Rodgers' transfer reunion. Top players are difficult and expensive to sign, but Celtic could be in a position to sign one star who's previously been linked with the likes of Manchester United and Real Madrid. The article goes on to say that Celtic have been offered the chance to sign former Leicester City star Wilfred Ndidi, obviously playing under Brendan Rodgers at Leicester for many years. And yeah, apparently interested in moving to Glasgow to work with Brendan Rodgers again, suggests this article. I guess you need something to make this a legitimate article to write. There must be something somewhere that's been said that he would be interested in working with Rodgers again. Yeah, I don't think this will ever happen, despite his apparent interest to work with Rodgers again. But it's something that's captured the imagination of Celtic fans this morning as the headlines broke. I just don't think that Celtic would be the most attractive move on the table for him, especially when it comes down to wages at the end of the day. There has been talk that clubs in the Premier League such as Everton are interested in Wilfred Ndidi and picking him up on this free transfer. However, these are clubs, Everton and lower end Premier League clubs, who can probably offer double the wages Celtic can, and despite having the pool of the Champions League football and the pool of Brendan Rodgers, who's worked with in the past, the maybe £45,000 a week at a push that we would offer him could easily be topped by a lot of these teams down south. So in reading these articles this morning, I urge you not to get carried away with them. I wouldn't expect to see Wilfred Ndidi become a Celtic player anytime soon. Do I think he would be a good signing? Of course I do. He's struggled in recent years with injuries and of course Leicester's relegation as well. But at age 27, he is definitely a good player. Probably a player that could have been so much more and was held back by little things like injuries. He was someone who looked to maybe be going to the very top. The likes of Manchester United, I remember, who were so keen on signing him 4 or 5 years ago when he was still in his early 20s, didn't quite go that way for him. But a move to Celtic could be one to sort of reignite his career, and of course playing Champions League football. I just don't think it is going to happen. It's a nice thought. It's something that would add significant quality to our side for challenging in Europe. Of course, Ndidi has played in Europe a couple of times, but I think this is one that we can subtly ignore. The last thing I will say on that front is that if the interest is genuine and this story from the Daily Record has any truth to it, definitely explore the option, have the conversations. Brendan Rodgers should get on the phone to him and see if a deal can be struck. But yeah, I just don't see it happening. And to end off today's video, we'll go away from the transfer news for a moment, because if you're a man like me who's very interested in the football kits of this world, then the Celtic Away Kit has been leaked. Footy Headlines put out this exclusive image this morning showcasing what the away kit will supposedly look like. As always, as I say every year, Footy Headlines, one of the more trusted sources. This will be the Celtic Away Kit, obviously a rendered image rather than the real thing. Very Norwich City vibes, as everyone is pointing out, and a great day where we've also bidded for IDAH. Listen, 2 and 2 together, no coincidence. I like it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the real thing. So a yellow away shirt, yellow away shirts are always my favourite away shirts. I just want the trifecta, you know, the hoops, the yellow, and a bumblebee. That's all I want. That's my perfect three. Sadly, no bumblebee this year, but there you go. That's the Celtic Away Kit for next season. When more images are revealed and real images are revealed, we'll show them off on the channel, but for now, that's all we've got. Right then, there you have it. That's your news for today. Exciting updates on the Adida front, so hopefully we hear more very, very soon as details emerge. But until then, please make sure to go down below, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.